Before we move on to the good stuff, we need to do a quick review on how the Earth and Moon orbit the Sun. If this light bulb represents the Sun, and we're looking down from the north on the Earth, we would see that the Earth rotates counterclockwise, roughly 24 hours per rotation, and the axis that it rotates on is actually tilted. It's tilted about 23.5 degrees relative to the orbit of the Earth around the Sun. This axis points almost directly at the star Polaris, and the Earth orbits the Sun counterclockwise, and this axis of rotation of the Earth never changes. It always points at Polaris. This is actually what gives us our seasons. Now, the Earth's orbit is not a perfect circle. It's actually slightly elliptical, but that doesn't affect our seasons as much as the angle that the sunlight hits the Earth and how long our days are. Right now, the northern hemisphere would be in spring. Right here, the northern hemisphere would be in summer. Our days are really long, and the sun's rays are hitting more directly on the surface of the Earth. It's heating it up more. Over here, we would be in fall, and over here, the northern hemisphere would be in winter. The days are very short, and the sun's rays are hitting at more of a steeper angle. At the same time, the southern hemisphere would be experiencing summer right now. As we come around back to spring, let's talk about the moon. So the moon orbits a little less than 28 days to complete one orbit around the Earth. Its plane of orbit is about the same as the plane of orbit of the Earth around the Sun, but it's tilted a little bit. And this is why we sometimes have eclipses. So first of all, if we're standing here on Earth and looking at the moon, this would be the first quarter. The illuminated side is on the right, and the shadow side is on the left. Over here, we would have a full moon. Now, if the Earth and the Sun were directly in line with the moon, we would have a lunar eclipse. Over here, we're in the third quarter, or last quarter, and if we're standing here on the Earth looking at the moon, the illuminated side is on the left, and the shadow side is on the right. Over here, the illuminated side was on the right, shadow side on the left. And then coming back around, now we're at a new moon. This is only out during the daytime, and we can't see it. There's actually no illuminated side for us to see. All we see is the shadow side. One other little neat misconception with the moon is the dark side. Everybody always talks about the dark side of the moon. I'm going to put a piece of tape on the moon here just to represent. The moon actually makes one rotation per orbit because the same side of the moon always faces the Earth. So if you're looking down on it, you would see the moon complete one rotation. When people say the dark side of the moon, they're actually referring to the side that we can't see. We never get to see that back side of the moon, but it's obviously not the dark side of the moon. When it's right here, the side of the moon we can't see is actually completely illuminated. Over here, it's half illuminated. So pretty neat.